can you please explain what spiritual blood means?
The spiritual one?
Blood.
Oh, the plan, the divine plan. Yeah. The divine plan was devised by Sanat Kumara and the big council of Shambhala. And this plan plots out step by step the evolution of humanity on the earth, planet Earth. Just simple like that. How you guys, how all of us are supposed to evolve. And what does evolution mean? All it means, means a lot. Simply stated, what it means is, here you are on this earth plane, okay? And your mind is limited by the earth plane. You can only see, you have 5 senses, you can only see so much, and you can only hear so much, and everything. And this whole world that you see and feel with your body has tremendous limitations, although you don't know you're limited. Okay? And so you operate in the earth plane, you eat your food, you fry your chicken, and you do all different things to your daily life. But something is more to that than just life on earth. So, what we mean by evolution is to open up your mind, open up your consciousness wider and wider and wider and wider and wider and wider until you can see who you really are. Because the man down here or the woman down here is not really who you are. Okay? So, when everybody says, oh, my spiritual development, what does that mean? It means this process of opening up your mind wider and wider and wider and wider and understanding more and more. The more you understand and the wider you are, the more quote-unquote spiritual you are. It's not a matter of wearing a white gown and going like this and chanting and all that. That does not make you spiritual. The spiritual part is the widening of your thinking, of your consciousness. That's the thing that opens you up. Now, a person could not even be involved in the ancient wisdom, but if, say a kid goes to school, he gets a degree in everything, he starts a job or he creates a business. And the business, he puts all his intelligence into the business, and the intelligence is spiritual. It's coming from spiritual sources. That's part of him. And he grows the business, and the business gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That is also spiritual development. You see? So what it is the progression of every human being to widen the consciousness, and in widening the consciousness, your life gets better and better and better and better, generation after generation. You see what I mean? It's not going to church to pray. It's not coming to a group here to chant. This is not about. The spirit is what your own mind is able to do. Okay?
In the divine plan, there is a primary play of negative and positive forces. For example, basically one and what much. So that in the plan, the promise of the plan, there is no such thing as eradication or identity. It always goes together. Just bring into balance.
You have to bring it into balance. So bringing everything into equilibrium so that you can widen your consciousness. That is basically what the divine plan is about. It's everything that you're doing in life and is supposed to be meant to increase your consciousness. Even some of the most menial tasks, like drinking salabat, for example, a little bit like this, and opening, everything open, every single day you open up wider and wider and wider. And back to your question about that's the divine plan. Now, doing that, they have, in this plan, planned several ways that you can do this. By putting you into situations like this, or putting groups of people into situations. Like for instance, the path of initiation, you've heard of that? Anyway, so there's a path of initiation. They made that available here. This is another way you can expand your consciousness. Follow the path of initiation, and to be able to get from one initiation to the other, you have to open up your mind. You have to open up your consciousness. And as you progress, you do. Now, one of the things that's in the path of initiation, of course, that everybody is involved with here, is emotions. All these crazy emotions that control you. Now, once you get rid of the emotion that's holding you back, your consciousness opens up. Then there's another emotion to stop you. And you got to get rid of that. And you got other bad habits that stop you along the way. And you got to get rid of that until you opened up to the point where you're an angel. No. That's all it is. That's all it is about. And around this whole evolutionary track, mankind has learned how to build businesses around that. And the businesses I'm talking about are the churches. They make you pay for this and pay for that, and you don't have to pay for any of this. You know, it's all free of charge. But the offering is there, and they build churches, and they do all kinds of things. And they say, oh boy, this church is going to make you more holy. It doesn't. If you don't make these changes in your own life, it doesn't make you any more holier. It doesn't make you holier than anybody else on the street. It's what you are able to do. That's the real kind of evolution. Now, I'll give you a little hint. They say, as we reach, what is it? The fifth round, or the next big step in the solar evolution, they are hoping that mankind, I think, reaches 3/4 have gone through the fourth initiation. That's a lot of people. So that's going to take at least 1.5 million years or something to go along. When you look at humanity, but as I said, it starts with a baby and the availability of good education. Good education expands the baby's mind. If you look on our website, we have this evolutionary, the evolution of consciousness. You start with a baby, and the baby gets more educated, gets a degree, and trains to be a doctor, and then a scientist, and then the baby becomes a scientist that looks into atomic scientists or something. All of that is an expansion of your consciousness. Now he reaches the point where he's a top level atomic scientist, or where am I going to go now? So that's when you get into the more quote-unquote spiritual. The mind keeps looking. The mind keeps expanding. That's how it goes.
The master, as we said,
Seek. Never stop seeking. Because seeking is the thing that opens your mind.
So, if you look at the younger generation, the kind of life that they're living, the area around, the kind of values that they have, we think that as our life.
You should get on your knees and pray when you see what's going on. Well, I keep thinking, they also are all guided by their souls. And somehow, the society we presented them today is a mess. It's corrupt, it's immoral, it's got all the worst things in life. What else can we expect of them? as things clean out more and more, I think they have the ability to respond better. When you start talking about quote unquote spiritual things, I notice that their ears perk up a lot more than those who say, that's nonsense, that kind of stuff. There's a more receptivity there. So I still am quite optimistic that once we pass over this phase of it, that it'll be better. Or as I said, if they engage in some of the low level vibrational activities, the acceleration will just start to go.
Master Yoko mentioned in the response that the dark forces being the upper hand in the system of life started there, and then it gained momentum, especially in ordered wars, 1 and 2. And the fact that they were able to extend or delay the implementation of the plan, is that also part of the plan?
Well, a lot of people say it is because it gives us the duality that we need to learn. And I would say it's a lesson that we're learning, dark forces. But let's say we get rid of all the dark forces. Okay? That doesn't mean that evil is gone. There's still, as I mentioned, that evil doesn't appear. It has to be reckoned with. And we can get rid of all the dark forces and we can form exactly the same kind of society that they did with what we have up here. So it's cleaning up this stuff too in our own minds that's necessary to get rid of it. But this cleaning up process is, of course, a learning process. It's a learning process of the duality. But it doesn't, duality that's all good, but it doesn't have to be as bad as what the dark forces have given us, which are these incredible wars and the monopolization of money. You get rid of those two, doesn't mean that all evil is gone, it's still there, but it's in more manageable form that the human being would have, or should have. Whereas, how many of you were involved in the decision to go to war with Ukraine? None of us have any say in this thing. They make the decision themselves. And they drag everybody into it. So that's the kind of stuff that's going to be wiped out. That's the major big black stuff. But the stuff that can be handled in your own life or in your own group or in your own community, you still have to deal with it. And you can't blame it on the black dark forces.
You said that we have a good and bad, what it is in our brain. What it is in our brain that are good and bad.
It's your God. Your soul. You know what you're talking about?
You said that there is these dark forces, we can eliminate them. But
Oh, you mean when you're meditating? No, state the question again.
but I mean, we have our good and bad habits, so that's like that. In us, that was it inherent to us that we have that good and bad habits, or it is only in our physical aspect?
Well, most of the bad habits come from your physical being, okay? That is when you're a baby, and you learn all this stuff from growing up. It's all learning. Some of it may be from the past life, but I think most of it comes from the way you grow up as a kid. And you accumulate all this stuff. And you accumulate it from your friends and your school and all this kind of stuff. And all in the society, you read the newspaper, you see all the corrupt officials and all that stuff, and all like that. And a lot of it is subconscious that comes into your mind. Now, as I mentioned, when you are on the path of initiation, you are forced to get rid of this stuff. The first things on the first initiation is getting rid of all the physical things that are preventing you from expanding your consciousness. And that is watching how much you eat, and some of the practice was, drinking and smoking and all the other things that contribute to keeping you down, keeping your vibrations low, and so that you can't advance. So let's say you get rid of all those major physical impediments to your spiritual growth, and you move into the next initiation, which is the second initiation. That's the one everybody is stuck. Because that has to do with your emotional life. And people today are full of emotions. All kinds of crazy emotions that are holding them back. The spouses and the children, mothers and fathers, all this stuff is building up while you're growing up in the society. And the hurts and the loves and the romance, all this junk is flying around in your brain, and all preventing you from seeing your consciousness being expanded. You see, you get obsessed with this guy did me wrong when I was 2 years old, and blah, 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 blah. This one hurt, this girlfriend hurt my feelings, and blah, 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 blah. And all that stuff goes out. And what happens to the expansion of consciousness? You get obsessed by these emotions, and they hold you back like a load. And then, of course, you get into the third initiation, which focuses you to your soul and your contact with Amen Ra, and also leads you into the work of the hierarchy. And then you get into your fourth initiation, which is all the purpose, where the whole divine plan is opened up to you, and you help and assist Sanat Kumara in getting the divine plan purpose and function. So it's all very simple. But it all depends on you yourself. Nobody's going to help you. No priest is going to help you through this thing by sending you to a confession. You can go there 100 times a day and it still won't do it unless you make up these decisions in your own life. Like, I'm going to stop smoking in the beginning. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop abusing my body with drugs and all this stuff. Pass into the second, and then you handle all your emotional stuff. But don't get stuck there. That's where most people get stuck in this generation. It's rising above all those emotions into the third initiation.
As you go along, you tread the path always at the
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but as you're treading the path, you also suffer. This is not a happy-go-lucky thing. It's just it's a path of thorns. And everything is going to try to stop you. All the tempting, everything's going to try to stop you from the way. And you just keep, head down, and you just keep going. That's when most people give up. Like, the will to do this. They just just enjoy life.
To expand on the consciousness, there is a freedom.
Oh, freedom, yeah, of course. You feel the freedom. And then, as you expand your consciousness, you are less bound to the material life here. For example, I think one of the main problems everybody has is money. That's one of the things that binds you to this earth dimension. And as you see, once you expand this consciousness, you'll see that you're freer and freer from this chain that's holding you back. And things will happen in your life to resolve that problem with money. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest chains, and I shouldn't say this to all of you, is family. It's your family that holds you back to the earth like this. And the more you're able to free yourself of these chains that are holding you back, the more you can expand. But if you're locked into all the problems of family, on and on and on, and, you know, those problems can go on for generations. You're locked in it. You can't get out of it. Yes,
How about the development of the Antakarana?
that's all part of it. What I'm talking about is moving, you know, in the initiation, first, second, third, you're building every, let's say, the first, you get rid of, let's say you get rid of your smoking habit. That's one brick on the road. Get rid of your drinking habit. As slowly as you go, you're paving the road toward the realization of who you really are as your soul. So it's very practical. Building the Antakarana is not just spiritually building the road. You gotta make some decisions in your life to take, you know, and take them, and practice them.
So like the how do we become the light becomes brighter and brighter as in spiritual progress?
But I'm describing, that's when the light is brighter and brighter. Once you get all that crap away from your life, and you're able to, you know, get rid of all these emotional obstacles, and you surmount that, and then you start seeing the light of your soul. You know, as you are on the path, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter, and you get closer and closer to your soul. And that should happen in the third initiation. That's when you see the light. And that's why they say all light bearers should reach the third initiation if you're going to be lucid. Otherwise, you're a light bearer dragging along all these problems. You should be over that hump and into the third initiation to be really useful in that time. And that is the light you're describing is the light of the soul of each light bearer that has been carried with it. It's not some holy light coming from the star. It's yours.
This is possible in the third initiation.
What?
This is possible in the third initiation happening in this life.
Of course, that's why they're giving this to you. You know, if you're light bearers now, you decided, I can tell you already, that before you decided to come into incarnation, you were already light bearers of some sort. But when you come back to earth and you fall into the womb and born like a kid, you have to start all over again. But it can be it's an accelerated rate, because what you do is catching up with what your life had achieved before, in the previous life, see? So it should go much faster. See, it's like you're sitting here, instead of sitting in a bar downtown. You see, that's the difference. Yes.
You said that our that everybody is our emotion. Can you give us some tips?
Well, you know how these emotions, sometimes you're just sitting there, you're doing nothing, and thinking, and all of a sudden some emotion will come up to you. You know, that lady, she cheated me out of this, and blah, 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 and you get this anger that comes up. Thinking about it, that's when you've got to stop. You've got to stop and say, no, I'm not going to get wrapped up in this. This is only an idea. It's not the real lady standing there, it's your own memory bringing it back. You stop it there, and you throw it out. Just like a garbage can, pick it up, don't let it get any further, throw it out into your conscience. And it's gone. It won't bother you again. Now, the ones that repeatedly hit you, I don't know, might be something that a fight you had with your daughter, for example. Going like this and anger going back and forth, you know, and when you're cooking, you're thinking of it, and then you're washing dishes, you're thinking of it, and you're driving at her, that's when you have to put a stop to it. And that's more difficult, repetitive, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trying to get you more and more angry. And all you're doing is repeating something that happened months ago, and it's all in your mind. So if it's all in your own mind, you have to control that. There's nobody else that can control that. So again, when it starts to rise up in you, just you say no. Just say no to it, and then you can almost see it. Just take it like this. It's really cool. And I think one of the most difficult things is getting over some heartbreak. She left me, he left me, ran away with another lady, or she left me for another man, and that goes on. That can hurt you for years. And if you don't put a stop to it, it's going to ruin you. Because that's the way, that's the way the astral plane is. Eating at you like a termite. Just like this. And as I said, all this is happening up here. It's not happening in your life here. It's already done with, right? And so it's repeating itself and recurring in your mind over and over and over and over, just trying to wear you down. And that's when you have to bring up your soul will and strength and say, that's enough. Out. Get out. And you sit there until you see the thing leave you, just like that. That's the best way. But it takes a lot of strength in it because it's like a magnet. It's drawing you in like this. And you know how you're suffering, sometimes you want to suffer? You just love to suffer. Oh, it's just so good. It's just so good to, oh, how he hurt me. What he did, all these accidents. And you spend all the day watching on TV and just, oh, it hurts. And a lot of people enjoy doing that. They love to do that because it's easy. That's when you have to build up your strength to just get there and say, out. That's it. And it takes a lot of strength. But what it is you can always ask your guide or your master to help you. And to show you the ways of God. Yes?
Is there a difference between reality and illusion?
The reality and what?
Illusion.
Well, the whole problem is this is the illusion in here. Right, it doesn't. What's happening here is not the so-called reality. It is an illusion of what's happening up here. Say on the here plane. And what is here is the physical mirror of what's going on there. That's the main difference. But to talk about it in that way will never resolve the problems. You have to resolve it by facing the illusion that's there and dealing with it. You understand what I'm saying? Say, for example, you go to a movie and you see the whole thing going there and you're crying, you're getting all excited, the whole action that's going on in the movie. But how thick is the movie screen? Everything is going on in the whole reality. That's the kind of illusion we live in here. Where the real cause is elsewhere. But you will come to that conclusion as you progress in your expansion of consciousness. When you realize that All this conflict that may be happening, say, in your family is an illusion. And the way you realize it is, one of the ways of realizing is by practicing healing. When you are able to heal that, you know it disappeared because it was an illusion. You understand what I'm saying? That's the concrete proof that what you're living is really an illusion. The disease or cancer or whatever it is that's striking you. You're actually, when you're doing the healing, you're actually seeing it as not real, as an illusion. That's what's happening. And so it disappears, and you have one tiny proof that this is an illusion. But I know people who wander around and say, oh, that doesn't matter, I just live in this illusion. And it's not real, it's all, and their lives are a mess. Because they don't know how to adapt to what they have to deal with, you see? This is not the way to go. The way to go is to just tackle it, one thing at a time. And prove to yourself that this thing doesn't have to bother you because it's an illusion. You understand what I'm saying? Did I make it clear? Did I answer your question? Any other questions?
So if you realize that this is illusion, where is the reality then?
In the upper place. There is more of a reality in the etheric plane. What's happening up there. And of course, the real reality in our earth is on the mental plane. But, don't worry about it. You gotta deal. They put you here to deal with what? Why did they put you in this physical body? What are you dealing with? You're dealing with a body made like concrete. Minerals, bone, calcium and everything. This physical body moving around in a physical form like this. You do physical, everything is physical. Driving a car, all that stuff. And you have to plant things to eat, you have to raise animals, you have to do all this kind of physical stuff that we take for granted as life here. But what is the whole purpose of this experiment? The whole purpose is very simple. The whole purpose is to see if the spiritual can penetrate matter. Okay? And that even in this concrete body, we can sit here and talk about spirit. The spiritual thing. That the truth is penetrating concrete, everything. That's what we're here to prove. And the spirit penetrating the matter should make the matter better. And that's what we have healings, spiritual healing. And your life should get better as the spirit penetrates this material form. And of course, as it penetrates the material form, it is raising you up to it. That's where the ascension comes in. And as I say, by the time maybe the end of this major period of fourth round, we will all have possibly ascended to the etheric zone, etheric path. We won't have these physical bodies. But first, we have to prove that spirit can penetrate this material body, and we can use spirit to fix the body, to make it do what we want it to do, to respond to spirit, and the spirit takes over the matter.
That is the divine plan.
That's part of the divine plan.
That is the purpose of the divine plan why we are here on the spirit to penetrate the matter and then reunite the plan in
But it doesn't end there. I mean, once you prove that, then you got a lot of other work to do. This goes on forever. But then you get into the cosmic environment. But we're talking just about what's happening on Earth and utilizing the human body as a vehicle for to prove the worth of spirit. Now, most of us think that we are bodies. And you take it in this and reverse the whole idea. You're actually a soul that has adopted a vehicle to work it. Okay? So the soul's in charge. Never was in charge. And so this is another way of explaining it. So the soul chose to be you, for example, or you. And then that soul was trying to raise that you, or material form, and express himself through that material form. You see what I mean? Even if he chose that, he has to express through that material body. And that's the whole path of initiation. So physical, you get rid of all the obstacles so that the soul can penetrate the body and you can be a redeemed or an enlightened physical form. But it doesn't only stop there. After you have done that, then you move even further. You keep moving up to the human body.
The transmutation of the physical form is how you have to be followed by the spirit, the spiritual dimension.
And your own decision is the free will. You have to make a decision to do that.
So it doesn't follow that with the transformation of the earth from transition of the earth from the third plane to third dimension to fourth dimension. It doesn't follow that there is a corresponding transformation of the physical form.
That won't cause it. You're causing the other. And that's why it's not going to happen overnight. That's why the more of the population that moves in this direction, the more the earth can change. That's why when I hear this stuff about
This also depends on how humanity can transform itself, and then the earth follows.
well, the earth is going with you at the time because it's providing the vibration. But the magic bullet that some of these new age people say, oh, the earth is accelerating and we're going to sweep ourselves into the fifth dimension and we're all going to join them up there. That's a lot of BS. It should be so easy. It's not that easy. It's still the same step-by-step evolution that we have to follow. But as I said, it doesn't have to be, the expansion of consciousness doesn't have to happen within a spiritual group like this. It can happen in the business world, it can happen in the scientific world, wherever that expansion is going. But in the other areas, like if you're, as I said, like if you're in science, there is a point where it doesn't go anywhere. That's when it's going to get into things like the English wisdom. There's a point where it stops.
So everything culminates.
Yeah.
So actually, the evolution or the expansion of consciousness is at the same time also the evolution of matter, because actually spirit or consciousness is going to spiritualize matter, and it goes together at the same time with earth.
Yeah.
So this is like that.
Right.
So I'm asking about healing. Is healing, what is the role of healing? Is it there to hasten this spiritualization of matter and consciousness on the earth?
Well, I don't think it hastens it. What it does is prove what we're talking about is correct.
Because you said a while ago that we have to face our life here. So by experiencing the expression of consciousness will expand and it will spiritualize the matter. And we have to face it by, you said a while ago that healing is the way. So I'm asking about healing.
I as I said, what we just said, that your expansion of consciousness, right? As you're expanding your consciousness, all these other material things drop away, right? That is what healing is. When you see the disease or whatever it is as what we call an illusion or something that can be destroyed, you have just proven that it was not real, that you have expanded your consciousness beyond that disease. Does that make sense?
So the healing helps in a way to clear the
It makes sense, that's what I'm saying.
It helps you in your own ascension, but it also helps the other person to clear the way. It's just another means by proving to yourself that healing proves that the spirit can penetrate matter and change matter. You understand what I mean? To make it different.
So what is really being cleared away are illusory attachments or other bonds which are not supposed
All
to
the
be
obstacles you
there.
have in your own mind.
So that's also the healing of issues. It's basically the same.
So it means this healing is we will heal our minds.
Basically, that's what it is. It's a mind healing. Spiritual healing. Expansion of consciousness healing, whatever you want to call it.
How can we know that we are healed in our mind? How can we say we prove it?
Listen, healing is probably one of the easiest ways to know that you're healing. And that's when the sick get up and the dead wake up, and these things, these are proofs. These are the proofs that we're talking about. Or, let's say you have a financial problem and you heal that, and that's solid. See, these are solid results. They're not based on woo-woo stuff. And you say, oh, it's in my mind. No. It has to manifest itself on the earth plane. It has to manifest itself as in matter. And that's the way you prove it. You understand? That's your proof. There's a big doubt in your mind. It's a big question. This is what Jesus gave us. The way He healed people. It's just beyond doubt. It's done. Heals the sick, sin, and heals the blind. How can you argue with that? A man is blind, and then and then the blindness goes away. That's the proof. You can't argue with that.
How can we recognize what happening to you between real or it's just a illusion? How can we recognize?
Well, just what I said. It proves itself in your life or in what you're doing. Let's say, I don't know why I keep talking about financial problems. Let's say you have a shortage in money, okay? And you heal that. And what happens if money comes? Isn't that proof enough? Or you have a simple sickness and you heal yourself and the sickness goes away. That's what more do you need? And that same principle with your own life, you can do it for others, by helping others do the same thing. So the principle is applicable to you and to as many examples as you want it to be. That's the proof. Anything else? Yeah, I have good questions for you. Discussion.
since you have touched about it, high management classes, one of our renowned economists, Briones, mentioned that by 2015, the Philippines have committed himself to participate in the global, in the Asian free trade,
Great trade.
Asian free trade. And the objective of which is to include the Philippines and also other Asian countries. There will be the visas will be relaxed, and also there will be ultimately there will be just one currency in Asia.
What currency?
This is all that I don't know. Then it was mentioned. In fact, Briones mentioned this specifically during the State of the Nation address of the President, because there has not been any mention of this 2015 participation of the Philippines. And the Philippines has not actually planned if there has been no mention of the President on this.
So it's not going to happen.
It's going to happen because this has been an agreement between Asian countries. So whether the Philippines is prepared for it or not prepared for it, it's going to be implemented.
So what is the question?
The question is, would it really help the Philippines?
Probably not. There are all kinds of these little blocks and trade blocks like this. Sound good. They won't work because of what we know is going to happen. All the turmoil that's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. How can something like this really work? But if in a different time, it probably wouldn't hurt to do it, to try it. But whether it really benefits, it's hard to say because of what we're expecting.
So basically, all the economic agenda that are in the pipeline may not probably come to fruition because of the philosophy happening.
Or it might blow up and you'll see the corruption under it too.
Or probably have thought that there will be some kind of future happening as a reason why the Asian countries are trying to organize themselves to.
Well, they're not going to escape. They're not going to escape this worldwide end of the cycle. That's you keep hearing that. It'll hit everybody else but us. It's not true because it's happening now. Really. And especially with this giant of China, where everybody thought they would be isolated from this whole thing and they would carry us out of this Great Depression. And everything would be hunky-dory. Not happening. So we'll see how that trade block looks. And then, they've got so many of these trade blocks now that just failed miserably. It just don't work. First you have to have an economy to do something. Have something to trade. Everything is going to be depressed. How are you going to do?
Will the agenda of BRICS be able to carry through the change?
Well, that agenda, as I mentioned, is just a copy of what we have today. Only it's switching, the power center is switching to them. But that's not going to do. That's not the kind of stuff that the new age should bring in. We should bring in something a little bit more creative with that. It's the same old crap.
So even the termination of the civil rights fixing.
All that stuff, of course, is coming too late when they're finding all the corruption and gold and silver market. After everybody's made their money, now they're talking about corruption. The whole to be able to really put in a new system, the whole system's got to evolve. And clean the whole thing out so that something new can be put in. Not just another copy of what we have overlapping into.
So, crossing the next time on it's either you're waiting for the market to write itself up or you elevate it and turns. So, what's most likely is the entire.
That's right. For that particular sector, yeah. And if that doesn't take care of it, the earth changes will take care of it. You see, all of them are coming together. And
Earth changes the last one.
what?
The last.
No, it's simultaneous. It's happening now.
And then the big one is the last.
There's
one.
yeah. Well, the big one,
Is the last.
oh. But if they want to continue with the economic system and the wars, the big one will take care of them. The big waves and everything will level everything. You know, it happens every 10,000 years on Earth. So why should it be different this time? You know, every 25,000 year cycle has two people. Has one cleansing in the middle and one at the end.
So the war is now ongoing in the different parts of the world. Eventually all countries will be affected. No country will be spared.
I don't think so. You think the Philippines will be spared from wartime, any kind of civil war or something like that? You already had it. The ongoing civil war.
It's nothing, you just want to reach on it.
Well, that's
But there is a rumor that it is finished in Mindanao. There is a rumor that it is
how are they going to do that? The rebels are going to march up to the You never know. They're talking about a coup d'etat in the United States also. Or the military coming up. Who knows?
So the military takeovers are
They may be a bad thing too. You never know what these wild cards are. They're not really wild cards. In fact, the whole destruction of the current system, I think is all planned. That's why the BRICS thing is coming in on this. The power center is changing in the United States to these other countries like China and Russia. So they'll perpetuate the same dark force kind of regime. So I don't think we need that.
Are there factions also in the dark force?
And they're fighting among themselves. That's what they say about evil. Evil will eventually destroy itself. Shall we close?